So welcome back to another episode here at the Finance TV. Thank you everyone for tuning into this week's episode. Today we have a very special guest who I'm very happy to be here today because I think it's a pretty exciting topic that we're talking about today. But it is Ms. Iris Bellamy. She is a financial professional and she's been one for over 20 years. She is a member of FINRA and she is a registered principal, acquiring her Securities 26 license. She has her life licenses in Maryland, Virginia, California, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and North Carolina. Okay, so welcome today, Miss Iris. We're very grateful to have you here. Welcome to the Capital Markets Lab, first of all. I don't think I told you that this is what this was. This is our Capital Markets Lab, and then this is our business building, Earl G. Graves School of Business and Management. So how are you doing today?
I am doing very well, thank you. I am so happy to be here with you today, and thank you for the kind invitation.
Of course. So we're going to start off with our icebreaker.
Okay.
Because that's what we do here at the MSU Finance TV.
Okay.
We start off with icebreakers. So my first icebreaker is pretty calm. It's if you could be a celebrity for 24 hours, who would you be and why would you be them?
Well, that took a little bit of thought. I kind of centered on Angela Bassett. Mm-hmm. She is a person of faith, as I am. Her husband is a minister, as is mine.
All right.
Of course, she plays many strong female roles on TV and in the movies with such confidence and grace that I just tend to gravitate to her. I like to watch her whenever she's in something. I tend to be more of an introvert. Mm-hmm. So to be her for 24 hours would be a fabulous day for me.
I agree. She's a fabulous lady. And that's
Yes,
a good choice. Angela Bassett, who doesn't know her?
Yeah.
But yeah, great choice. I would like to be her daughter
Yes.
for 24 hours.
Absolutely.
So if you're going to be here for
Absolutely.
24 hours, I'd definitely be her daughter. But we're going to jump right into our questions now. So if you guys haven't noticed by now, we're going to be talking more so personal investing today. That's really, highly requested from a lot of our students. So the first question is, what kinds of services do you provide your clients with?
Well, the services, we don't really sell products, but we do offer programs and services that put families and individuals in a better financial situation. Our goal is to help families and individuals increase their income, save money, eliminate debt, and become financially independent if that's something that they want to do. Now, each prospective client will we take like a financial checkup to see where they are, and also talk to them and get questions and answers from them concerning where they want to go, their goals and dreams. We offer term life insurance, better known as income protection. Don't call it life insurance, it's income protection. We do, of course, investments, legal protection, identity theft protection, auto and home insurance protection, home security protection, and finally, senior health protection. So we want to take care of our seniors as well. Now, my clients get access to us and me as a financial coach to kind of push them towards their goals. Now, I can't make you, but you set the goals, and I'm going to be the one to kind of encourage you and educate you to get there.
Great. And then when you're creating a long-term investing strategy, what factors do you consider?
Okay. In creating a long-term investment strategy, it's important for me to understand my clients' immediate and short-term goals. I ask lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of questions. I want to know where they are, where they want to go, and when they'd like to be there. Some people come with specific goals in mind, and we work towards their goals. Some people just need the education first to be able to begin to put together their plan. In addition, I ask questions about their financial objectives, their time horizon, and of course, their risk tolerance.
So, you've been a financial professional for over 20 years. What would you say would be, 5 steps to creating a strong financial foundation?
Well, I would say after your faith and your strong faith foundation, you should add to that taking control of your spending habits, paying yourself first, eliminating all the debt that you may carry, learn about home ownership and the power of home ownership, there's some rules and some concepts to understand: the rule of 72, the theory of decreasing responsibility, knowing what it is to defer taxes, to be an owner and not a loaner, and of course, finally, to invest with professional management in mind.
Yeah, agreed at the last step. Why do you think it's important to start investing at an early age?
Well, I believe that investing should start as early as possible, and the earlier, the better. But investing is just a part of the many concepts that people need to understand. Because of what we do, we're always teaching and helping people understand how money works. And that's a very important part. We don't just accept the role of, I'm going to tell you what to do. We're going to work together, and we're going to make sure you understand what you're doing, how you're positioning yourself, and what the key factors are in terms of your choices to make sure that you make the decision. I don't make the decisions for people. Of course, when in terms of me growing up, and in most families, our families didn't know how money works, so they couldn't teach us. And so, of course, it's important to start as little children. I have 2 nephews who have had that advantage of their parents knowing how money works and teaching them, and they are so fiscally responsible. I mean, they're not even 16 years old yet, but they think deeper, they take time, they don't waste their money. They're always encouraged and coached with their parents to give some thought to what they want to do, and give some guidelines. You want to improve yourself, that it's giving you it's adding value to your life. So.
Agreed. And I like how you put it. You said it's an advantage, which it really is, having parents that know about how money works. What would you say would be the difference between investing for the short run versus investing in the long run? And what do you think those differences in returns would be?
Okay. Short-term investing usually is defined as setting aside money that can be withdrawn for, say, emergencies like car repair or appliance repair. But it can also mean saving 6 to 9 months of your income just in case you were suddenly unemployed. Some people will call that your rainy day money, your savings for your rainy day. Long-term investing usually involves saving for retirement and wealth building, saving for retirement years, and perhaps saving wealth to pass on to your children and your children's children, of course, is biblical. Returns for short-term investments are usually lower risk, somewhat conservative, or even very conservative, involving money market funds where you can put and take the money as you need it for emergency's sake. Returns, of course, are kept on the low side. And when you're talking about returns on the long-term investment, it's really subject to the client's comfort level in investing. Generally, you can make more money. I think people are surprised at how much your money can grow in investing than in a bank. And so it's just really important for people to understand that. And once they, once we know their comfort level, we're able to place them in funds that particularly speak to what their comfort level is, And then, of course, I've had people who, I want Disney stock. And so then I go hunting for a fund that invests in Disney, anything Disney, everything Disney. And then, of course, when the market's down, they're so excited because now they can buy a piece of
for cheaper
Disney stock because the market's down. So just those kinds of things.
And I liked how you brought up the bank, because now I want to talk about a savings account versus an investment account. So what is the difference between a typical savings account that you could find at your local bank and an investment account?
Well, of course, the savings account in a bank these days is the rate of return, or the interest rate that you can get is fairly low and almost non-existent. But when you're investing and thinking about investing, you're talking about investing for the long term. And of course, you're also going to get a greater growing power depending on the type of investment in the fund that you pick.
Okay. And then we have a lot of interested college students interested in, investing and creating their own investment accounts. So for those interested in creating an investment account, what should they do? Who do you think they should contact? And where do you think they should go?
Well, I'm a little biased.
Okay.
I think that they should consider the Hill Group, of which I am a member, and reach out to me as just the contact person. And depending on their specific investment interests, if I'm not able to do it, let's say they're interested, they have big money to invest, then we have associates who are able to handle managed accounts, anything over $25,000.
I don't think I asked you earlier, but what is the Hill Group? Can you give us
the Hill Group, we are a group of independent contractors who have joined together, and we are just interested in educating the community, building stronger communities. We want people to be educated. We don't want them to we want to avoid the gotchas in life that fall, we fall prey to those who, the information that they first put out to attract you is wonderful, but it's the legalese that takes away all of the things that you thought you were going to get. And so we want to help people to become more knowledgeable, how to pick a fund and what's important, whether is it that it's doing really great now, or, what are the objectives and how do you structure that? How can you make a good choice? And so we try to work with them to understand what to do and how to do it, so they don't get caught up and find out, next minute, next month, next year, whatever, when they go for their money, that there is none. We don't want people to be taken advantage of.
And what different investment accounts are available out there, particularly because we're speaking really to college students as well, just keeping that in mind, and which ones are most suitable for beginners?
For beginners, you probably just want to learn about mutual funds, and then make a choice in terms of what kind of, based on your needs and whether it's short-term, intermediate, or long-term growth, what you want to do. But that's the best starting place, mutual funds.
Can you give us a definition of a mutual fund?
Okay, a mutual fund is you might say, let's say it's ClearBridge mutual fund, ClearBridge securities investment, and they would have a money manager who is, or a team of managers who are responsible for growing money. The people who invest, like you and I, we take our money and we invest in that particular fund, and we pool our resources, and the money manager will manage that money. If there is any growth or capital appreciation or any dividends earned, then they pass that on to we who are investing in that particular fund. So a mutual fund there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of funds, and different companies that offer the funds. And so you go in based on your values, or what you want to get out of it. And so it's just a pooling of your resources and then sharing in that dividend or that capital appreciation along the way. And that's how you're growing your money. And of course, the market's going up and down, It's fluctuating, but the long-term investment goal is what helps you to really get you where you want to go.
Yeah. And then what to consider when choosing between different investment accounts?
What do you consider? Well, I'm a fiduciary, so my job is to help a client meet their goals and dreams. So I don't have a hidden agenda. I don't have a specific fund that I love. There's nothing in my head when I meet with them, except I know they want to invest, and I want to see where they are and what they know, what they understand, and what their goals are. So They're going to I'm going to talk with them about their investment history, their risk tolerance, and try to identify suitable funds that meet their particular goals and dreams and comfort level. And so everything is specific and unique to their need, what they want.
What kinds of costs comes with managing or at least having, like an investment portfolio?
In terms of, let's go back to our issue, the investing in mutual funds. In this example, the upfront charges can range from 0% to 5.75%, depending on the mutual fund that's chosen. With brokerage accounts, which are the beginner type of accounts, they are not monitored in the sense that managed accounts are.
Right.
So that you don't get that day-to-day thing, but we work with our clients to, once they pick a fund, we revisit and see how it's doing. Are they happy with the returns? Do they want to look into making a change? But we don't force a change or encourage a change. It's based on how they feel about how their money's growing for them. It can differ depending on the fund. Of course, there are annual expenses like management fees and distribution and service fees like 12B1 fees and other costs that the shareholder may charge for mailings and, sending out your prospectus annually and your that kind of thing to keep you abreast of what's going on. So there are little charges. I remember one client had, she was, saving, a beginner saver, and she called me up in the month of December and she said, "Hey, somebody took some money out of my account. What's going on? What's going on?" And I said, "Now that's the annual charge, which is just $25.
Oh.
And so, but she was, you could tell that she's paying attention. That's what we want people to do, because we can't, monitor everybody's account. But I always tell them, I am just a phone call away. Just call me. Whatever it is, call me. There's never a stupid question or question you shouldn't ask. Ask me. If I don't know, I can get the answer. But basically, to keep them on track and not scare them away from the investing potential, because once you miss those great increase days, those increase in return days on the market, you can't really get them back,
How often do you think people should monitor their accounts?
I like to look at it annually. I think they should look at it annually. In terms of those who are just starting, I'll say, okay, I'm always putting you in the best performing fund. It's 10 years or older, so I don't put anybody in anything new because you don't know what it's going to do. It could tank. And of course, while nothing in investments is guaranteed and I cannot predict the future, I can look back and say, okay, let's pick some really stable funds who've done the distance and, made the money over the years.
Yeah, agreed. And then how much money would, let's just say, a college student a graduating college student, how much money would they need to start, to open up like their account and, start maybe mutual fund investing? And then are there typical minimum cash deposits that they would need to start in their account?
Well, of course, it depends on where you go. Now, with us, with the Hill Group, our minimum monthly investment is $25 a month. And so we figure most people can do that. Yeah. But if they can't, we can work with them and show them how they can, accumulate some money before they start, particularly if their finances aren't so stable, and then take them through. And then they can open their account, whether they're going to draft their savings account or their checking account with their investment.
So the Hill Group, they have savings and checking accounts available as well?
Now, we don't. You would have your own. You'd set up your own account. You might have it with a bank. And so you have the option. You can use your savings account to withdraw your money from monthly, or you can use your checking account. And of course, you pick the day of the month that you want that money to be drafted on.
Oh, okay, that's what you're saying. Okay. And then you mentioned earlier something about money markets. So can you please explain to us what are money market accounts?
Well, money market accounts, again, are low risk accounts, pretty stable. Usually, a money market account would be dollar in, dollar out kind of thing. So you're trying not to, they're preserving your principal. So, and of course, every month or so, depending on the fund and how they pay their dividends, you're going to get a little, you're going to get a little interest, a little extra money coming into your account on a monthly, quarterly, or semi-annual or annual basis.
And why are they better than like typical bank savings accounts?
Well, banks tend to offer a very low rate of return. If you want to Google it, what's your current bank doing in terms of interest rate? And pretty much it's an eye opener to let you know that if they're offering less than 1%, well, maybe you can do a little better than that with a mutual fund money market account. Of course, with inflation and other economic situations, the amount of money that you can make now, I think it used to be 5%. Now everything is a little low just because of the times. And so it doesn't matter where you go, it's not going to be but so much that you're going to be able to make.
And do you think like money market accounts are like a good alternative for, persons interested in investing, but may not have like a specific savings set aside already to invest in, like, let's just say a mutual fund or another type of brokerage account?
Well, again, you don't have to. We encourage people to have some savings in their checking account, in their savings account. That's money that you can get to or, get access to instantly. Then the next thing you may want to do is think about that immediate savings. You may want to start saving some of your income towards, what happens if, I get let go. And so you have your rainy day money. So you would probably keep your savings, keep your checking account at a certain amount, but anything that maybe you don't need, you can use that to begin to fund your money market account, and then step up for the short term. Let's say you want to have a wonderful trip to the Caribbean or a cruise or something, and you want all the bells and all the whistles, and maybe that's, a big ticket item, then you can put that in your short term. And let's say 5 years from now, you're going to be taking that money out. And then, of course, there's the retirement money and the wealth building money that you're not trying to take at all for a good long while. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, I always tell my friends, because they try to get involved in investing just right out the jump. And then I ask them, like, do you have money saved, put aside, like for the next 3 to 6 months of like your, I think it's expenses, your emergency savings for a rainy day? Like, you never know, because you don't want your money tied up into some stocks and your car breaks down and now you got to get a new car, like stuff like that.
We ask people, that's why we take time. We're not interested in you starting out on investment where you don't have the stability to carry it through. Start where you can start. Maybe you can't immediately invest, but if you're just starting and you're going to put a certain amount of your income into that account every month, then you want to make sure, first off, that you have all your emergency money set up. It's just like going into when you're thinking about maxing out a Roth IRA or a regular IRA, for example. You don't go into wealth building accounts, investing until you've maxed out what you're allowed to give each year, because you want to maximize your money and have all your money growing for you as hard as possible. And then maybe you can do the annuity, or you can do the other thing that you might be interested or curious about. But we always have steps. So we want them to start and then build up, because yes. Mm-hmm.
So what is the difference between the money markets and then the capital markets?
Okay, now capital markets are your stocks and your bonds and your treasury bills and your T-bills and all kinds of commodities and maybe even real estate that you can invest in through different funds. There are funds that specifically go into that if that's something you would want to do. And so it's just a matter of course, they're a little bit more, they're going to pay more. They're going to be maybe a little less conservative. And of course, they can be very aggressive. So the person decides on their tolerance. And from there, we give them, what they need. The more aggressive, the more stocks, the more, you would stocks and bonds and commodities and real estate types of investments you could make.
And how can I estimate my rate of return on investments made in each of these markets?
Well, you can't really, you can look back. I always talk about, I don't put you in a fund that's not at least 10 years old because you don't know, you have no guarantees. So the longer and more established funds that Warren Buffett and other people who are millionaires invest in, you want the steady stuff that pays in good times and in bad times. And so we're always trying to put people in that. And of course, we're looking back. What was the rate of return over the last 10 years? If it's, it can be as depending on the company and depending on the fund, as low as 6%, as high as 21%. It's the person who dictates what they're going to do. But you have to kind of, know where you are and pick some funds and then give a little bit more consideration to really what you want. We think young people and children, when you have investments, you can be a little bit more aggressive because they don't need it right now. And of course, the idea is you're not day trading. You are putting that money in and you're not going to touch it until whatever date that is. And so that's what's so important for people to understand.
Can you share with us what type of investments would generate the most return? And then can you define these particular assets? A very popular question that you probably hear a lot in your line of work. Well, what is going to give me the most money? Okay,
yes. So I always tell people the most return or the most money is going to be the fund that's most volatile. And so it's going to give you the biggest bang for your buck. But you have to remember, you can't watch it every day. You can't say, oh, the market is down today and my money, you can't think that way. You have to think, this is what the fund has done for the last 10 years. The average in terms of the market every year for all the markets is about 10%. So where are you going to get that except in an investment? You're not going to get 10% at a bank. And so you're looking at your stocks and your equity funds, particularly your U.S. stocks. Mm-hmm.
And then what type of investments would you say are the safest ones to make?
Again, safest is lowest return. Mm-hmm. And so you're not going to make as much money, but you will preserve your capital. I mean, I have seniors. They are in the safest. They're in the income funds that are paying dividends regularly to them. Pretty stable, of course, strong and stable investment funds that have done the distance, so they are not worrying about the day to day. So they want to put some money away, but they don't want to lose anything. They tell me, Iris, I don't want to lose anything. It's like, okay, so we go to conservative, which is income, that very conservative level, and we're just looking at the best fund for them.
And then which types of investments have the balance of the two, with safety and then like income generating as well?
Okay, well, your U.S. Treasury securities, they're considered income generators. They are safer, lower risk. You have your high yield savings accounts, your money market accounts. And of course, there are several types of bonds and annuities that also offer low risk, but also preserve your capital.
Oh, I have another question now. This just popped up in my head because we have a few listeners from outside of the country as well, because I'm from the Bahamas. So we have a lot of Bahamian listeners. Thank you all for tuning in. And there was someone who had asked me to ask our next guest on this episode about making his first $5,000 investment. You were mentioning U.S. Treasuries, U.S. Funds. Are they able to make investments abroad?
I had one client who opened up an investment while he was living here in the U.S. And when he left, when he came in, he didn't get the Social Security number. And so that creates a big problem. We basically were U.S. investors, or you have the Social Security number, or I forget the other name of it for those who are living in the country, but perhaps are not U.S. citizens yet. And so you have to have that Social Security number or some kind of identifier that lets them know. I mean, let's face it, Uncle Sam wants to make sure that he can get all our tax money. He wants to make sure he gets his cut on whatever we're growing. So it's very important. You can't just say, I have $5,000 and I'm in London and I want to just plop something here. I'm here visiting. You want to make sure that you have applied for that Social Security number, so that way the government is happy, because otherwise there's a big penalty. There's always a penalty for not doing it the appropriate way. So it's not an outside thing. You want to make sure you're within the rules and regulations of the federal government all the time.
Agreed. And then back on track, we're going back to another icebreaker. I'm looking here and we finished like the first half of the interview. But if you found a mysterious bag, now this is a holy bag, rinky dinkly, somewhere on the side of the road, you were walking and you tripped and you look down and it's this bag and you realize that there is some cash inside, but not just any amount of cash, $1 million worth of cash in this bag. What are you doing?
What am I going to do? I'm going to pick up my phone and dial 911 and have the authorities come and say, this was found. Now, if they want to give me a reward, I'll be happy to take the reward, but I'm not taking that money home.
Do we even know what law enforcement do in situations like that? Like,
well,
what do
that
they do
crosses
with the
my
cash?
mind too. I mean, that crosses my mind. You can, maybe you find.
What if they did a drug bust and it's like $50 million in cash in a warehouse? Like, what do they do with that?
Yeah, well, they're supposed to put it in the evidence room, and everything is supposed to be tracked. Of course, a lot of times when there's juries and trials and they're digging into how much money was it really, we want to make sure that, in my case, well, I don't know, I would have to count it to know it was $1 million, because I wouldn't necessarily know, but whatever the amount was, I'd be turning it over. And so I guess, as you say, maybe I should stop and say, okay, I'm going to count this, sir, before I give it to you, so that you know what I gave you, and then we go from there. So I have my proof of what I did.
What
so
you
no
did.
one's knocking on my door saying, hey, you took something. And I'm like, nope, didn't take anything.
Do you think Uncle Sam takes some of that money, like after the cases are done?
Well, I would hope not.
Because where else would it go? Like, they're just going to leave it in the evidence room after the courts are finished with.
Well, I'm not an attorney, so I wouldn't know, legally what their responsibilities are. But I try to focus on what I need to do and make sure that I have a paper trail for what I've done. Yeah.
Okay. Well, going back into our interview now, what kind of investments should someone consider if they're looking for more control over their assets? Now, I know earlier you mentioned that mutual funds, they have managers particularly managing those particular funds. So if someone wants to be more in control of their investment, what type should they make?
Well, it just depends when it comes to investing. For the most part, the most that we can control is taxes and investment costs. So you can pick a fund that doesn't cost as much in terms of its maintenance fees. You can pick a fund that's going to help you to defer taxes. You can pick a fund that's going to, like a Roth, that you don't have to pay any taxes on when you come out. After the account's been established for 5 years, when you get to that retirement age, you don't have to pay state or federal taxes. But other than that, you can't really control. You can't really control your investment. Now, when you're talking about managed accounts, there's a lot you can control. There's more control. It's more specific. You have a strategy, you have goals, you have something you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to save and set up. There's trusts and all kinds of legal things that may be part of that managed account situation.
What type of investment would you describe as the typical investment decision for beginner investors? I think, but we talk about the mutual funds. Yeah, those are pretty safe.
Yes, they're pretty. That's the go-to. That's where you start.
Yeah,
and of course, based on that, there's no typical fund. It just the fund choice that the client would make is strictly up to them.
Yeah, let's just say we've. A beginner, invested in the mutual funds. What's like the next asset class that they can go to after they've really put as much as they felt comfortable putting in the mutual funds and it's grown? Maybe they've been investing in these mutual funds for a few years now and they want something a little bit more maybe aggressive, I guess. Like what would be like the next asset class you would say?
Well, in terms of asset class, I think of asset class. We offer A shares for the general investing public. Once you have maxed out your money market account, your short term, your long term, you're maxing out your IRA or your Roth IRA, then you can think about annuities. You can think about other types of investments. And of course, while we are limited in what we offer, like we don't do stocks and bonds and things like that, we offer mutual funds that invest in stocks and bonds. So you can make your own decisions. I mean, you see on the TV lots of commercials about gold and silver, and they're very they're tangible. You have it. You can put it in your closet or your safe, but in terms of its value is still going to fluctuate, just like the market does. It's just, there's no kind of way to really predict what's going to happen, but you will have gold or your silver for whatever. There are people who are looking down the road and they have all kinds of survivalist things in their minds to do, and you can basically plan anything that you desire.
Yeah. And then what is an annuity versus perpetuity?
Well, it's an annuity. An annuity is an investment that's really more, it could be a fixed index annuity. It can be a variable annuity. And then that depends on what funds or sub-funds or sub-accounts are part of it. But with annuities, you're growing some money for later, and you have a goal in mind that maybe it's going to, at a certain time, you're going to grow your money and then you're going to annuitize it. You're going to start liquidating. Well, you lose control of it when you begin the annuitization, the taking out of money, because at that point you turn your money over to an insurance group that is doing more of a life insurance and assessment of you on how much to give. And of course, you can have joint accounts or single accounts, but basically it's just making a determination on how you really want to use it. Some people, like athletes, a lot of times their payment is annuities. And so it's an immediate annuity. So that they're going to throw the money in there, and then you're going to get so much a year or however your payment arrangement is, but it's going to still be money that's growing over whatever contract time, line that they've set for you. But that's kind of how it is. Not like an employee type situation. It's more of an annuity money because you're talking about millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Or
Where did I get perpetuity from? Is that anything?
You can invest for perpetuity. And so basically you are setting a legacy. You want to leave money to your children, your children's children down the road. And so that's your managed account money that, you may set up trusts for grandchildren or however you're going to do it. And of course, the wealthy are very creative in how they take advantage of those kinds of accounts. And for us, we're just trying to accumulate the money and then pass it on down to our children and our children's children. And of course, the idea is that you keep the money growing. You're not taking it out of the market, but you're just taking a portion out. It could be monthly, it could be annually, it could be every 6 months, depending on how it's set up. And your money keeps, the lump sum keeps growing, and you're living off the interest at that point, basically.
Yeah. And then which asset class do you think will have the highest ROI at the end of this year?
Can't predict the future.
Can't at all. How has the current inflationary environment impacted the different asset classes?
Well, of course, inflation affects everything. The things that are liquid, like your money market accounts, some people will, because of inflation, may want to cash that stuff in, and as opposed to leaving it because they feel like it's not. The value of it is decreasing as the inflation is increasing. Now, then you have the illiquid or the stocks and bonds, your precious metals and your real estate and your commodities. They are good for hedging protection against inflation because, again, real estate and those kinds of things, they fluctuate. You can actually get appreciation. It can still go up in value. That real estate can go up, so that can kind of counterbalance the fact that you have inflation going on. But there's always, inflation is always going to affect everything.
And what poor investment decisions have you seen clients make? So, well, in your 20 years in this profession, and then how did did they affect the client?
Okay. Poor choices. I have two poor choices that I want to share. The first poor choice is that the client wants to take their money out of the market during a downtime. And so we always try to teach them and help them understand the market fluctuates, but not being disciplined to stay the course for your goals, towards your goals and dreams. I mean, all of a sudden you want to take it out. Why? Have you reached your goal? If you haven't reached your goal, then you want to continue to leave it. I always tell them when the market is down, it's like Filene's Basement. There's a sale going and you can buy more shares in the down market than when it's going up. You buy less and less because the price keeps kicking up. So that's one choice. We want them to leave it. Don't miss an opportunity, because while the market is down, you don't know when it's going back up. Right. And if you miss that day when it goes up, sometime it can shoot up 12 to 24%, and you missed it because your money, you never know. And so you do have to stay the course and work towards the goals that you have for yourself. The second poor choice for us with clients is waiting. Waiting 10 years. Oh, I have debt, I have this, I have that. And it's like, even if you can do $25 a month, you need to do $25 a month now because let's say there's students and you save a certain amount of money. At some point, you can actually stop investing and let that money, that nut of money just grow over time to retirement. And sometimes doing it that way means that you can make your $1 million goal investment. Now, if you wait 10 years or 20 years or 30 years, you're talking about maybe instead of $25 a month starting today, that you need maybe $70 a month because you waited 10 years. Maybe it's $25 today, but you wait 20 years. Well, now maybe it's 7 times more to start, you see. And so you want to always take advantage. You have to take advantage of what you have right now.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. But we do know it's better to have something and leave it to our beneficiaries than to have nothing to leave to our beneficiaries.
Do you work much with college students or young adults, like in this line of work?
Absolutely.
Okay, because when these cameras shut off, I'm gonna need to get your contact so we can get my investment account started.
Absolutely.
Because I can do $25.
Absolutely.
And I think it's best I start. Well, I don't know why I kept putting it off, but
Well, that's what we do, but we don't understand, but it takes so much more. I mean, if your goal is $1 million, if you start today and you save a certain amount of money and then let it ride, let's say at a 9% rate of return, by the time you're retired, you have that $1 million or $2 million accumulated. But if you wait 10, 20, 30 years, well, now you need more money to get to the $1 million. And so that's why we always say that high cost of waiting kicks you big time. And
how much should we have by retirement now to live comfortably? I feel like the number kept increasing. I know that there was some reports saying that, to be in America at retirement, for you to live comfortably, you got to have at least $3 to $5 million stashed away.
Well, it depends. Now, it's somewhat of a calculation, but we try to ask people, okay, we look at their current investment, current salary, and how much money they're already investing, and then how much money do they want to live on when they reach retirement age. And so it's based on what your goal is. So if you can't live on what you're making now, it goes without saying that you're going to have to increase the amount that you save to make it so that you can actually be what they call financially independent, which depends on the person. Yeah. If you have a lifestyle you're trying to maintain, you need 2 million, 3 million, 5 million. Mm-hmm. If you are a family person, you're just going to live simply. You're going to teach your children what to do. And, you're thinking long term, but you're saying, okay, for me, Social Security is generally not enough. Your retirement, if you didn't max it out, you don't have enough money. And on and on and on. So if you don't have all those intermediary things, you don't have your emergency fund, you don't have a short-term fund, you don't have a long-term fund, you didn't max out your IRA, you don't have an annuity to look forward to, then you're working until you die. Yeah. I mean, people, you think that you can make it on less, but believe me, you don't want to live on less or be dependent on the government. You want to be able to live the life that you want. Now, if you have goals and you have dreams, that's one thing. If you're going to settle and deny yourself the privilege of having a more abundant life, then that's a decision too.
Yeah. Have you ever had clients that have successfully met their 1 million, 2 million, 3 million goal?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I have family members who were savers. And let's face it, some people are savers and some people are not. And so if you're a saver and you got a good job, perhaps good benefits along with that, you can put yourself away a nice sum of money. And then there's other accounts that you can set up on your own outside of work, which make the extra. And so when they get there, I have an aunt who doesn't know she has so much money, she doesn't know what to do with the money. So
I love that for her.
You have to decide now how you want to, do you want to give or support a charity or your church or whatever you want to do. I said, you don't have to leave it all to your family. It just depends on the person, and the decisions and the choices, but people, they leave to ASPCA or anything. I mean, you can put all of that in your will, and the money will go where you have arranged for it to go. It's just it's a plan. It's planning where you want to go, and then staying the course to get where you want to go.
What kind of personality or character traits would someone need to be in this particular role? What career advice would you give to students interested in becoming a financial advisor or a financial expert or a financial coach? And then what final piece of advice would you give to beginner investors eager to start their investment journey?
Okay. Looking at types of personality, you have to be patient. I think you have to be patient with people, definitely kind and respectful, but also being able to teach them what they may not understand, because a lot of times we think we know it all, but then we wind up down the road saying, oh man, I made the wrong decision. And so at the Hill Group, we try to help people understand that you can plan it out. I mean, you don't control the future. You could die sooner than later, but if you live, you're going to need cash. If you have a family, you're going to need income protection to make sure that if you don't come home from work, your family and the bills can continue to be paid, because it's, because you have made sure that you set that up ahead of time. So we have to plan for these things, or we plan to fail.
Yeah. And then the second one was, what career advice would you give students interested in becoming a financial advisor?
Career advice. Well, of course, we want people who are honest with integrity. Generally, basically, it's not about a college degree. For the Hill Group, you come in, you don't need that education per se, but you want to be able to obtain the life insurance and the securities licenses, and of course pass a background check. So, if there's criminal background type situation, then, it's something that has to be decided whether that would work. But generally speaking, you have to have good character. And of course, you get your affiliating with us, you'll have access to a sponsor who will help you in terms of getting your licenses. You get the SIE, you get the Series 6, the 63, the 26, and the 65. And then you're done. You've worked all the way up to managed accounts. So, and you're a financial advisor. For me, I am more of a financial coach. Then once I cross over and get that securities license, Series 65, then I'll be considered a financial advisor.
Are you trying to get that Series 65 currently? Like studying?
I am not studying for it right now, but that's my next challenge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good luck on that, by the way.
Thank you.
And then the final one was, what final piece of advice would you give to beginner investors who are very eager to start their investment journey?
Well, again, I'm a little biased. Reach out to me and we can help you, direct you. And of course, it's not going to be all me. It's a team. We are a team. And so I'm not trying to do everything, but I'm going to definitely share among the other licensed professionals in our team, and we will get you started.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're
welcome.
welcome.
Then how do you think we can get more students involved in, just investing, personal investing, mutual fund investing? Like, how do we get
we offer
interest in students?
Well, we offer How Money Works seminars. We have a book, and I'll leave it with you. We have one, How Money Works. And then we have How Money Works for Kids, which is more of a parent's guide to teach your children. So I'm going to leave that with you. And if anyone is interested in getting that information, the book, we have an ebook that you can scan the QR code and you'll be able to get it right into your phone, and then you have that information to read and check on. So, yep, I'm your girl.
Okay, I'm looking forward to getting that book because I'm going to share it with my family. I feel like we need more of this in Black households, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
My parents just know how to save
and
buy homes.
Yes.
Okay. This
And
is
there's nothing
beautiful.
wrong with
It's nothing wrong with
real
that at all.
estate
No.
because, my dad was a little bit into real estate too. And, you can, it's good. Of course, there are times when real estate is not a good time to really sell your real estate. So you don't want to take a loss.
Yeah.
And so then you hold on to it a little longer than you maybe want to.
Yeah.
But it's still, real estate is still good. It's still a viable option. But investing and, of course, looking to become a financial advisor, if that would be your goal, or even just stay where you are helping people, because everybody isn't going to do annuities. Everyone isn't going to be ready for managed accounts. As a community, we have a ways to go on that, but it's not impossible. And we do have folk in our community who have businesses who are making money hand over fist. And aside from blessing students, which I think is an awesome thing that they do when they say, okay, I'm going to pay all your loans off to the graduating class. That's a tremendous blessing. So
it is. I'm waiting to see who they invite to have the commencement speech at our graduation this spring. Someone already asked. I hope they bring someone wealthy so they can pay off our debts.
Absolutely.
But thank you so much, Ms. Iris, for
very welcome
coming today
anytime.
and sharing this valuable information and knowledge. I'm very grateful for everyone for tuning into this episode, and we can't wait to see you on the next episode. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and then I will try to get your contact information so I can share on the Hill Group's information as well, so that we can share it with our students and those interested in putting $25 a month, if you can, in those mutual fund accounts.
Very good.
Great.
Very
So I will see you guys at the next episode, and enjoy.